Okay, hello guys. So at this moment guys, we are going to start our discussion in lesson 6 of our Java programming classes, okay? And this is also guys our sixth meeting for this semester. And for this sixth meeting in our semester, we are going to have lesson 6, okay? And the title of our topic in lesson 6 is decision making. Okay, so this is decision making in Java programming. Okay, so decision making, that means that we are going to discuss here the if-else statements of Java programming. Okay, I believe you guys are already familiar with if-else statements because we've already studied this before on a different programming language. But this time, we are going to discuss here how to use the if-else statements in Java programming. Okay, so the same way the previous lessons that we have, guys, I am still going to use here the NetBeans IDE. Okay, so I believe, guys, and I hope by now all of you already have the NetBeans IDE in your computer. Okay, so let's start, guys, our lesson for this lesson 6, decision making. So let me just present this. Okay. All right, again, this is our topic, decision making, if else statements of Java programming. Okay. So first, what is the decision making in Java? So decision making structures have one or more conditions. Okay, there are one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the program, along with the statement or statements that are to be executed. Okay, if the condition is determined to be true, and optionally other statements to be executed, and then if the condition is determined to be false. Okay, so meaning if the condition is true, the statements will be executed, and then if the condition is false, okay, optionally you can add you can add another statement to be executed, or you can just um, don't add another statement if it's false. Okay, that's why it says here optionally. Okay, next. So following, guys, is the general form of typical decision making structure in Java, or here it is structure found in most of the programming language. Okay, this is like this is the flow chart of decision making of if else. So here inside the diamond shape, so this is a decision making. So this is where you will put the condition. Okay, and then here, if it's true, if condition is true, it will execute the conditional code. And if the condition is false, it will go here and skip the conditional code that you put under the condition. Okay, so if true, it will proceed with the code. If false, it will skip and end the program. Okay, so here is a simple definition, guys, or description of the statements in Java programming. Okay, so the first one is the if statement. Okay, so if statement, it's just an if. Okay, so an if statement consists of a Boolean expression followed by one or more statements. Okay, that's an if. The second one is if else. So if else statement, so can be followed by an optional else statement which executes when the Boolean expression is false. Okay, so the difference here is on if statement, there is no else. Okay, so if the condition is false, it will just skip the program. Okay, but in if else statement, if the condition is false, there is another statement inside the else that the program will execute if the expression is false. Okay? So that's the difference between those two. And number 3, guys, is nested if statement. So nested if meaning you can put one if inside another if. Okay, that is nested if. So here you can use one if or else if statement inside another if or else if statements. Okay. And number 4 is the switch statement. So a switch statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. Okay, but for this time, guys, we are not going to discuss this switch statement. We're going to discuss this some other time. Okay. So these are the different statements in decision making in Java, guys. Okay. And I'm going to discuss it one by one, guys. And I'm going to show you an example. Okay. So the if and if else statement in Java. So in computer programming, it's often desirable to execute a certain section of code based upon whether the specified condition is true or false. Okay. For such cases, control flow statements are used. Okay, so that's the if else. And then for the if then statement, okay, so the syntax of the if else or if then statement in Java is this. Okay, if, okay, so this is the structure or the syntax if you're going to use the if else statement in Java. So it goes first with if, so the word if, and then the expression. Okay, so in this expression or condition, this is where we're going to put the condition. For example, if number is greater than 2, okay, or number is greater than 3, so this is where we're going to put it. And inside the opening and curly braces here, this is where we are going to put the statements, okay? So this is where we are going to put the program that the Java compiler will execute if the value of the expression here is true. Okay? So here, expression is a Boolean expression. And a Boolean expression is either true or false. So if the expression is true, so inside statements inside the body of if are executed. Okay? If the expression is false, statements inside the body of if are skipped from execution. Okay, that's what I've been talking about earlier about true or false in if else statement. Okay. I believe, guys, you are already familiar with this, so I hope you guys can understand how it works because we've already discussed this on Kid, right? Okay, the if else. So how if statement works? Okay, so this is how it works, guys. I'm going to show it to you. So here on the left side here is if the expression is true. Okay, so in this example, I have a variable named test and the data type is integer, and then we initialize the value 5. So meaning the value of this test is 5. And here is an example if the expression is true. So here we use the word if. So this is the keyword if, and then this is the condition or the expression if test is less than 10. So let's say this is the condition. If test is less than 10. So what is the value of test? 5, right? So 5 less than 10. Is it true or false? So 5 is less than 10, right? So that means it's true. So if it's true, it will execute the codes inside the if. You can see there's an arrow. If it's true, if it will execute the codes inside the if. Okay? And then on the right side here, guys, is if it's false. Okay? If it's false, let's say it's the same. Okay? You see, The value of test is 5. But here, the condition is different. The condition here is if test is greater than 10. So the value of test is 5. So 5 greater than 10 is 5 greater than 10. So it's false, right? Because 5 is less than 10. So 5 greater than 10 is false. So if the value of the expression is false, so as you can see, the arrow did not go inside the body of if. It skipped the code inside the if. So meaning, as you can see in this illustration here, guys, if the value is false, it will skip the if. If the value of is true, it will execute the codes inside the if. Okay? So this is the difference between true or false of if statement. Okay, so here guys, I'm going to show you an example. Okay? So this is an example number 1 for Java if statement. Okay? So here the name of our class is if statement, and this is the main method here. And inside the main method, guys, we declare the value, we declare the variable number, and the data type is integer. And here, we already initialize the value for number, and that value is 10. Okay? And after that, I have here a comment, checks if number is greater than 0. So this is the if statement. If number is greater than 0, okay, if greater than 0, it will print the number is positive, or else, there's no else here, okay. After the if statement, there is another code outside if, okay. And as you can see, the words here that will print out will be this statement is always executed, okay. So meaning this statement here is outside the if. So meaning if we run our program, this will always be executed because it's not inside the if statement, okay. So let's try this example, guys, in our NetBeans IDE, okay. So let me first, I will just create here, guys, a new Java main class, okay, and I will name this one, let's see, the class name is if statement, okay. Let's say this is the name, if statement, and let me finish this, okay. So as you can see here, guys, let me make it bigger. So the class name here is if statement. So let me just delete all these comments here and comment here. Okay, so in the example earlier, guys, the first thing that we did is we declare an integer variable, and the name of the variable is number. And in this case, we can just put like this, right? But in the example, we already initialized the value, and that value is 10. Okay? And after this, we already have the variable number. So we can now use this number for our if statement. Okay? So if we want to check if the value is positive or negative, okay? So we can just, let's add the comment. So it checks if number is positive, okay. So this is the program below. So if, and then open and close parentheses, okay. So if number is greater than 0, okay, so this is the condition, okay. Now if number is greater than 0, and then after this we need to put here curly brace, okay, or curly bracket, open and close curly bracket like this, and then enter. Okay, so this is the partner, okay, opening and closing, and the partner of this is this, and the partner of this is this. Okay, so it should be equal. Okay, because if you lost or if you accidentally deleted one of these curly braces, so there will be an error in your program. So make sure that it's equal. Okay, there will be opening and closing. But if you are using NetBeans IDE, if you just type this opening and then enter, this closing will automatically be added. Okay, so here we check if number is greater than 0. So if number is greater than 0, we want to system.out.println. Okay, and we just want to display the number is positive. Okay, and then outside the if statement, okay, it's outside, we will put here system.out.println, and then just like the example, we will put here this statement will always be executed. Okay, so let me review again, guys, the program that we add here. So the name of our class is if statement, and here we initialize or declare a variable with value 10. So meaning that the value of this variable number is 10. And in this if statement, we check if number, so the value of number is 10. So number is great if number is greater than 0. So is 10 greater than 0? Yes, right? So if it's true or yes, it will execute the program inside the if. And this is the program or the code inside the if. So the number is positive. Okay? And this one will always be executed because it's outside our program. So let's try this one, guys, if it's going to work. So let's run this file and let's see if it's going to work. Okay. All right, so build success. As you can see, it displayed the number is positive and this statement will always be executed. Okay. So that is the example, guys, of if statement. Okay, we check if number is positive. Okay, so that's the example number 1, guys. So it's very simple. Okay, because we are discussing here if statement. Okay, so again, this is the example and the output will be this one. The number is positive. This statement is always executed. Okay. So next, guys, we are going to move on with the if else, okay, or if then else statement. Okay, so this is the second statement in decision making in Java, if else statement. Okay, so the if statement executes a certain section of code if the test expression is evaluated to be true. However, if the test expression is false, it does nothing. Okay? That is for the if. Okay? But in if else, okay, we can use an optional else block. Okay? So statements inside the body of else are executed if the test expression is false. Okay? This is known as the if then else statement in Java. Okay, so this is the syntax of if else statement in Java, guys. So if and then the expression. Okay, the expression is the condition. If it's true, it will execute the codes inside the if. Okay, and then if we want to add else, okay, so meaning if we want to create a program that will do something if the condition here is false, so we just have to add here the syntax else. Okay, else, and then open and close braces, okay, or curly braces, and then some other code. Okay, this is the syntax. So let me show you how if-else statement works, okay? So this is the illustration. If the expression is true and this expression is false, we are still going to use here the same illustration, guys, but different example. So the value of test is 5. So if the value is true, it will be like this, okay? So you can follow the arrow here, okay? So here's the start. If test is less than 10. So test is 5. So 5 is less than 10. So that means it's true. So if true, after this code, it will go here in the inside of the body of if. So it will execute the inside of if it's true. And then after executing the inside of if, it will go out and it will skip the else. Okay, it will not do the else. Okay, that is if it's true. And then if the expression is false, just like this one, if test is greater than 10, so 5, is it greater than 10? So no, right? So that means it's false. So if false, it will skip the program inside the body of if and it will execute the else. Okay, and it will continue. So basically, guys, what you have to remember here in if else, guys, is if the value is true, it will execute what is inside the if. And then if the condition is false, what it will execute is the program inside the else. Okay, so you have to remember, for if, true, for else is false. Okay, so that's the difference between them. So now, guys, I'm going to show you an example. And in this example, guys, we are still going to check if the number is positive. Okay, so we can use the program that we did on the example 1, but we just have to add the else. Okay, like this one. So let's try. Let's go back to our Apache NetBeans. So in this case, guys, before I show you guys the example number 2, let me just show you another example here. So let's say, let's change the value for number. Let's make it maybe negative 10, like this. Okay. So if it's negative 10, so that means that the value of number now is negative 10. And then if it checks if number is greater than 0, is negative 10 greater than 0? It's false, right? So let's see what will happen if it's false. Is it going to print the number is positive, or it will just print this one? Because this will always be executed. So let's try. So let's run this file. And let's see if it's going to run. As you can see, it's success. Okay, build success, but it only print out this statement will always be executed. So it did not. Okay. All right. Okay, so it did not print out this number is positive because it's false. Okay, it will always be, it will only be printed out if the condition here is true. Okay, so let's change it back to 10. Okay, so let's see. Okay, 10. So here, guys, after the if, because in this example number 2, guys, is about if else. So after the if, you can just put your arrow or your mouse here outside the curly brace and then enter, and then you can just put your else. Okay, and then open braces and then enter, and automatically, guys, it will add this closing curly brace. Okay, so it's actually better if we are going to use NetBeans IDE because there are some functions like this that automatically adds the closing tag, and it will help you to make your programming easier. Okay. So else, guys, we will just put here system.out.print ln, and then we can just put here the number. Okay, the number is negative. Okay. So now, guys, we have the if and we have the else. Okay. So for if, again, it will only be executed if the condition is true. And for else, it will only be executed if the condition is false. Okay. And in our condition, if number is greater than 0, so the value of number is 10. So 10 greater than 0, true, right? So if it's true, it will display this, the number is positive. So let's check. So let's run our file. And let's make it bigger. And let's see. And as you can see, build success. And what it printed out is the number is positive. And this statement will always be executed. Okay. So it print out positive because the value for number is 10. So now let's change it to -5. Okay. And then let's check. Let's run the file. Is it going to be the same or it will print out negative? Okay, so as you can see, build success, and it printed out the number is negative. Okay, and this statement will always be executed. So here it print out negative because we changed the initial value for number to -5. Okay, and the condition is if number is greater than 0. So -5 greater than 0. It's false, right? So if it's false, it will not do this one. It will not do this program. Instead, if it's false, it will execute the else. And the else is negative. And as you can see on the output, it says here, the number is negative. Okay? So that is a simple example, guys, of how to use the if-else statement in Java programming. Okay, so now, guys, let's move on in our discussion. So this is the example number 2, and this will be the output. Okay, so now, guys, let's move on to the third statement in decision making in Java, which is if else if. Okay, so this is nested statement or nested if statement. Okay, so meaning we can put if statement inside an if statement. Okay, so this is an else if. Okay, I mean so meaning here we can add two condition. Okay, we can put like if condition and then else if condition. Okay, so that is if else if. The nested if statement is for later. Okay, this one is if else if. So in Java, we have an if else if ladder that can be used to execute one block of code among multiple other blocks. Okay, so this is the example. So if and then expression 1. So let's say if number is greater than 0, it will do this. And then else if, and then you can add another condition. Let's say else if number is less than 0, and then it will do what is inside. And then else if, and then it will do what is inside. So what's going to happen here, guys, is if you run the program, it will check all the conditions here, whether if it's true or false. Okay, so let's say our condition is false. let's say first the true. Okay, if the condition is true, let's say it's true in this expression 1. If, and then expression 1 is true already, so it will already, if it's true already, it will not proceed in this program anymore. Okay, it will skip outside the if else statement, the program. Okay, if it's true at the beginning. But if this expression 1 is false, it will proceed on the else if, and then it will check the expression 2 if true or false. If it's still false, it will check to expression 3. Okay, and then let's say the expression 3 is true already. So if it's true, it will exit the program, or it will exit the if else statement and do the other programs. Okay, and it will not do the else. Okay, and then let's say, guys, all this expression 1, expression 2, expression 3 is false, or are false. All these 3 are false. If all these 3 are false, automatically, guys, the program will execute the codes inside the else. Okay, so that's what's going to happen here in if else if statement. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so here is the explanation, guys. Here, if statements are executed from top towards the bottom, as soon as the test expression is true, codes inside the body of that if statement is executed, then the control of the program jumps outside the if else if statements. Okay, this is what I'm telling you earlier, guys. If all test expressions are false, codes inside the body of else is executed. Okay, so that's the explanation that I told you earlier. So now, guys, I will now show you guys the example number 3. And the example number 3 is if, else, if, and else. Okay? So earlier, on the example 1, we check if the number is positive. Okay? On example 2, we check if number is positive or negative. In example number 3, we are going to check if the number is positive, negative, or equals to 0. Okay, so we are going to try this example, guys. So let's go on our Apache. Okay, so what's gonna happen here is we're going to check if number is 0. So let's initialize the value for number 0. Okay, and then if, so this, we can use this one. If number is greater than 0, it will print positive. And then we can just put here else if, and then open and close parentheses, and then we will put here number is less than 0, like this. Okay, so the first condition is if number is greater than 0, it will print number is positive. Else if number is less than 0, it will print number is negative. So here, after this, we can just put here else. Okay, and then open and close braces, and then we can just put here system that out that print ln, and then we'll put here the number is 0. Okay, 0. Again, as I told you earlier, guys, the program will always start on the top. Okay, and it will start here. It will declare a variable number, and the value is 0 in this example. And then this number will be checked if number is greater than 0. So it will be like this: 0 greater than 0. Is it true or false? 0 greater than 0 is false. Okay, so it will not do this program. It will proceed in this second statement here. It will check if number is less than 0. 0 less than 0. Is 0 less than 0? It's false, right? Because 0 is equal to 0. So it will also not do this one. Okay? If all these conditions are false already, so automatically, guys, it will execute the program inside the else. Okay, so let's try this example. So what will happen if we run this file? So let's make it bigger and let's see. Okay, it says here build success, and what it printed out is the number is 0. This statement will always be executed. So it printed out the number is 0 because if the number is not if the number is not greater than 0, that means it's not positive. And then if the number is not less than 0, that means it's also not negative. So we have only one option. So 0 is equal to 0. That's why it printed here the number is 0. Okay. So let's say we will change the initial value. Let's say 20. Okay. And then we will run this file. So what do you think will happen? Okay. So let's see what will happen. So we change the value to 20, right? And 20 is a positive number. So it will only print here the number is positive. Okay. So what happened here, guys, is the number is 20. And in this condition, number is greater than 0. So 20 is greater than 0 is already true. So it will only execute this file, this code. Number is positive, and the remaining code here on the if-else statement will not be executed. It will be skipped by the program because this is already true. Okay? So the same thing will happen if we change it to negative 20. It will display the number is negative because the condition here will be true. So let's see. So build success. And we change the number to negative 20, and it says here the number is negative. Okay? So that is, guys, how to use the if-else statement in Java programming. Okay? We can add one condition. Okay? If it only needs one condition, so we can use if statement. And if you want something to do if the value is false, you can use if and else. But if you want to check with multiple conditions, then you can use the if, else, if. Okay? And then if you want to check another condition, you can just put here, okay, else, if again. Okay? Like this. You can put another multiple else, if. It's up to you. Okay, guys? So that is the if-else statements or the decision making in Java programming. Okay, so let's proceed first in our Google slide. Okay, the output will be number is 0. Okay, so now, guys, that is our discussion in decision making in Java programming. Okay, and now I want to check, guys, if you understand our lesson. So I want you guys to type number 1 in the Google meeting if you understand the lesson about decision making in Java programming. And if you don't understand it and if you have some questions, I want you to type your question in the chat box of our Google meeting and I will answer your question. Okay? So now, guys, it's time for you to try. Okay? So at this time, guys, I am now going to discuss the activity that you're going to do about this decision making in Java programming. Okay? So the activity will be in worksheet 6.1. Okay? So I'm going to attach this worksheet in your Google Classroom so you can open this once I posted this Google assignment in your Google Classroom. Okay? So worksheet 6.1 decision making. So here, of course, in this activity, guys, you're going to create a program using the NetBeans IDE, or if you don't have the NetBeans IDE, you can use the Java Online Compiler. Okay? So here, the instruction is write the Java code and capture the image, then paste it inside the box. And you can see it's highlighted here with red color. Use the scanner class. Okay? So we've already discussed how to use the scanner class. So in this activity, you are going to use it. Okay? So number one, guys, the instruction is create a Java program that will check if the input number is positive, negative, or 0. So this is exactly, guys, the example that I showed you earlier. But in this case, okay, you're going to use the scanner class. So meaning, you're going to ask the user to enter a number. Okay, any number. It can be negative number, positive number, or 0. Because earlier in my example, guys, we initialized already the value in the program, but in this case, in your activity here, you're going to use the scanner class, and you are going to ask the user to enter or to input any number. You can see the example here below. Okay, it will. You can print out program to check if positive, negative, or 0 number, and then this one, please enter a number. You're going to use the scanner class here. Okay, and this one will be the user input, and then this one you're going to display the number that you enter is positive. Okay, and then I want you to display this one as well, created by Mr. Justin. So your nickname, your class, and your number at the end of the program. Okay, and this example here is if you enter a positive number. You see here, the user input 100, so it's positive. That's why it displayed here positive. And in this second example here, so this is an example for negative number. It should be like this. So if the user input negative 100, it will display the number that you entered is negative. Okay? And this one is the example if the input is 0. Okay? You see here the input is 0, and it displayed here the number that you enter is 0. Okay? So your output should be like this. Okay? So in this number one, I want you to take 3 screenshots. Okay? Screenshot for positive, screenshot for negative, and screenshot for 0. So I want you to put your screenshot here, the output here, and the program will be here. Okay, capture your program. Okay, here. Insert below. Okay. Insert or paste your screenshot here of the program. Okay, the program is this. Okay, like this one. So screenshot this and paste it here. Okay, that's number one. To check if number is negative, positive, or 0. So for number 2, guys, create a Java program. Okay, create a Java program that will check if the input number is odd or even number. Okay, so I believe you already know what's odd and what's an even number. So here, the same. This is the example, guys. If the number that you've entered is even, so here, please enter a number, and then the user input 26. So that's an even number. So it should display the number that you entered is an even number, and display your nickname, your class, and your number. And this is an example if the user will input an odd number. So in this case, the user input 27, so that's an odd number. So your program should display the number that you entered is an odd number. Okay? So also take a screenshot of your output and paste it in this box, and your program like this one, take a screenshot and paste it here in this box. Okay? So that's number 2. And for number 3, guys, so create a Java program to find out the average of 3 grades. Okay? And check if pass or fail. Okay? And this will be the condition. Passing grade will be, the condition for passing grade is greater than or equal to 75, and for failing grade is less than 75. Okay? So in number 3, what you need to do, guys, is you have to ask the user first to enter 3 numbers. Okay? And then after the user entered 3 numbers, you're going to create a program that will calculate what is the average of the 3 numbers. And once you get the average, you have to check if the average is pass or fail. Okay, and the condition is here. And this is my example, guys. So it should display program to check if grade is pass or fail. And then here you're going to use the scanner class. All the underlined with color red, they are inputs. Okay, so it says here, please enter math grade. So for example, the user entered 87. And then please enter English grade. The user entered 76. And then please enter computer grade. And the user entered 80. So you have to get what is the average of these 3 grades. Okay. And you can display here average grade is, and then you calculate, right? And you will display it here. Average grade is 81. And once you've got the 81, the average grade, you can check it if it's pass or fail using the condition here. Okay. And you will display here, you passed if the average is pass, and then it should display you failed if the average grade is less than 75. Okay. And of course, you have to use created by your nickname, your class, and then your student number. And then the same with number 1 and number 2. Take a screenshot of your output and paste it here in this box, and paste your program here in this box. Okay? So that is your activity for today, guys. For decision making. Okay? Number 1, number 2, and number 3. So in this activity, guys, your skill in using the if-else statement will be improved once you finish this activity. Okay? And that is your activity for today, guys. All right? And also, guys, the new school announcement about in every period we will only have 30 minutes, right? So 30 minutes per period, and we have 2 class period, right? I mean, we have 2 period class. So that means that we have 60 minutes in every meeting that we will have. Okay, we have 60 minutes, or we have 1 hour. And I've been discussing here and explaining here for almost 50 minutes already. So, and also the school announced that there will be no homeworks. So I know that you cannot finish it by today, guys, this activity in decision making. So this activity, guys, that I just explained, we are going to continue this next week. Okay, next meeting if you cannot finish it. Okay, and I know that you can finish it, so we are going to continue this next week. Okay, and then If you'll have any questions, guys, about our lesson in decision making, so I want you to ask me your question now. Okay, if you have question, turn on your microphone, or if you need help in the Java programming, turn on your microphone and I will help you. Okay, and that's all. Okay, you can also message your question on the chat box of our Google meeting. Okay, so that's all for the discussion, guys, and for the explanation about the activity. Okay, again, if you can finish it by the 1 hour that we have for today, we are going to continue this activity on Java programming next week, and I will explain it again next week what you're going to do. Okay, so you can start for now, guys. If we still have remaining time, so you can start and do something. So I mean, you can finish what you can finish before the end of our class. Okay, so you can start now, guys.